being on my show, and I was nervous. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to ask him. I don't know, because I mean, I was there in life, I guess, but I don't know the experiences because you live your life, and even though we're brother and sister and family, I don't know you in your everyday occurrences. So that's cool. That's cool that you brought up the Black Expo and how that was a pivotal moment for you. Thank you so much for tuning into MYLF Review. Today, I have an extra special guest. Today, I have my brother, the amazingly talented DJ Lil Dave. Thank you, Dave, for being a guest on my show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you. So, I've known you my entire life, but my viewers may not have. So could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
I go by DJ Lil Dave. Dave Adams is the real name. But I am part of the DJ crew out of Philly, Ill Vibe Collective, very respected crew. I also host the Eavesdrop Radio every Friday night from 6 to 9 p.m. on WKDU 91.7 FM, along with my partner, DJ Junior. I have a podcast called Excellent Reception. It's everywhere that you can find podcasts, and it's all about deep diving into music. And there's a million other things I do, so hopefully that's a good start.
So obviously DJ Lil Dave, you're a DJ, you produce music, you've gotten into podcasts. So how did you get started?
I think like the moment of inspiration for me was years ago. We were at the Black Expo in Houston. Hide your cat back there. No, we were at the Black Expo in Houston, if you remember that. And there was a booth that had a record store in it, and they were giving out free records. And like a lot of those records were, I just scooped them up and took them home and studied them. And it just got me into collecting records and got me deeper into hip hop, which I was already into. I was taping and things like that. And then also one of my favorite rap groups, Black Moon, was there. So I got to meet them, and it was like, oh, these guys are like, 3-4 years older than me. We're pretty much like in the same realm. I was like, I can do this. If they're doing it, I can do it. And that kind of got me inspired. And, I would just sit in my room for hours, listening to music, trying to dissect how things were done, listening to mix shows, trying to figure out how the DJs were doing what they're doing, and using my little crappy equipment that I had to try to make it work, And that's where it started. So.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Because I do remember, especially when we were in Texas, you used to lock yourself in your room for like all day. I wouldn't even say hours, like all day. Mom would be like, is there something wrong with him? I mean, when I go in there, he seems to be fine, But, it's amazing because that was like your little lab,
Yeah.
And I love what you said about your favorite group, Black Moon, and how they were kind of like not that far away in age. So it really, that representation really inspired you and showed you that you could do this too. That wasn't too far removed from your realm of abilities. And I love that really pushed you to get into your craft, to learn and to nurture your desire, I guess, to get into the music industry and to make music. So, oh man. So I guess that kind of brings me to my next question, but what was it that made you want to make music and get into the music industry? Like,
I mean, I had just been studying music probably like my whole teenage life, like just sitting there listening to the radio for hours with the tape in, recording all my favorite songs and all the mix shows, studying MTV, studying, all the late night, like local shows, Urban Expressions and things like that. And it's just like, there's something there I can do. So I tried to figure out, how to make the music, how to DJ, and I don't know, I'm messing up now. But
it's okay.
Oh man, it's tough because I'm trying to like answer the same questions the same way.
No, don't answer the questions
Yeah,
the same way.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
this, we in a whole new vibe now. So
Okay,
just,
okay.
what made you want to what drove your passion? We know how you got started. We know what piqued your interest, but what really drove your passion to continue into making music? Because a lot of us, we get inspired. We may even meet, some of our favorite musicians, but to have an experience like that obviously was definitely life altering. So what helped you to continue on that path to make music? Because like you said, you were in high school and you were like halfway across the country, and
Yeah.
now you live on the East Coast, and it's a few years later, right? Because so what helped you to like continue on this path?
I mean, the right people and events just kept coming into my life. I mean, like when I went to college, there was a guy in the dorms who was a DJ, and I had brought my little stack of records, and I would sit with him and we'd practice cutting and things like that. Doing the radio show, like just access there to all sorts of music and people to talk to, and just learning things. Like it was just always something happening. Like even when one day I showed up at the radio, and there were these two guys standing outside, and one of them was a rapper and the other one was a music promoter. And the rapper happened to be this guy named Grav, right? He had this record, the promoter gave me the record, and I tried it out. It's fantastic, and never heard of this guy before. But it turns out years later that record was the very first record that Kanye West produced that was ever released. And I just happened to meet that guy at random. And the promoter I ended up dealing with for years. Like he would like say, come by and pick up all these records from these labels. And then I just had all this music. So it was just like, oh, now, like how was his connection to the radio station, to KDU, to break all these new records? So like he was getting the new DMX, he was getting the new, just everything, like all the major league beat nuts, like whatever you could think of. And just like all these different situations, different people, like meeting Ill Vibe Collective, it was just random. It was just serendipity. I met Philly Blunt, one of the members. It was like a poetry event or something I was DJing. And then, I pulled him in something to another event that I was throwing. And then he brought some other guys along with him. And then next thing you know, we're a crew and we've got this big party called Body Rock. And, it just turned into this whole movement, which we're still continuing to this day. So it's kind of serendipity. There's things in your life that just say, oh, keep doing this, and you just got to listen.
What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for a special PNSA, a Puppet Night Service announcement. That's right, a Puppet Night Service announcement. The Ill Vibe Collective. Yep, you heard it. Check out the Ill Vibe Collective Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern, bringing nothing but certified Armageddon meteorite heat rocks. For that work, tune in to Ill TV at twitch.tv/Ill Vibe Collective. That's Twitch, twitch.tv/Ill Vibe Collective. Ill TV. Mondays, Sunny's Playhouse with Mr. Sonny James. Tuesdays, Big Tunes, DJ Philip Lee. Wednesdays, Yo, Ill TV Raps, DJ Skip Mode. Thursdays, Lifted Spirits, DJ Lil Dave. And Fridays, Say Slide with Matthew Law.
You just got to listen.
Yeah, wow, that's cool. That really that's really profound. All those little small events, those chance meetings, you're taking a chance on a rapper that you never knew, you meeting a friend here, being inspired by an old roommate. All of those collective events really pushed you to continue on your journey. That is one thing I think that we need to pay attention to. That is important. Paying attention to being in the moment. When you're in the moment, you don't understand, or you may not know like how special that one little moment could be. It could change your life. It could make you into, bring you into your next station in life. So pay attention to those small moments. They may seem unimportant at the time, but that chance meeting, that going to an expo with your mom and your sister, and then like by chance, like somebody just saying, hey, we have all these records here, why don't you take some? Meeting your favorite rappers, like meeting your favorite rapper is pretty cool, but like you don't, it's not just meeting, because then all of those things that happen in that moment, it changes you, and you can't deny that change. And sitting here years later, and you're still recalling that moment, that pivotal moment in your life, and how it has really turned you into who you are today. So what have you learned throughout all of these years in the music industry?
Just do what you do, like I think there's this kind of thing where people try to do whatever's popular, or try to fit into a certain box. And, what happens is you end up being like, you're disposable then, because as soon as that changes, that trend changes, or whatever it is changes, you're not valuable anymore. And you need to be evolving and constantly, being the best you. And the more you are you, and you do what you do best and what you like, and create the things that you want to see happen, the more valuable you become, and the more people seek you out for what you do. And I think that's what I've been able to build all these years, is just doing what I do. Like I don't play any of the, I mean, I do play popular music, but I mean, I definitely champion a lot of music that isn't well known. That's fantastic music, but it's just like people, there's nobody pushing it. So I'm the one that's pushing it. I'm the one that's exposing people to it. And that's been a huge thing for me. And people come to me for that. They don't expect me to just hit you with the normal DJ set or the normal production or whatever they're coming for me for. They want something else when they come to me.
You're like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, because that is who you are. That is the draw. That is why you have become so popular, because you are feeding us new. You're not staying in the status quo, and like you said, popular. You are allowing people to learn through you. So you're like, like a musical teacher a little bit.
Yeah. And I think when it comes to music, I like kind of break it down in my head, and I find the things that are common about it. So like if I'm mixing a popular song and maybe something that's lesser known, and I'm trying to get a crowd interested into it, there's something connecting value between the one song and the other song that makes it all work, that the crowd can understand and people can get, and that brings it together, and it opens them up to experiencing more new things that they haven't experienced before.
Yeah, because music is an experience. The arts is an experience. People don't gravitate towards things just because, I mean, a lot of times, we gravitate because of everybody else is doing it, but most of all, it's because it's how it makes us feel. So, especially in being a DJ, where, traditionally a DJ would be in a place, it would be a very experience driven event where we're all in, maybe a party or a bar or wherever, and everyone's having this collective experience, and the DJ is the one filling us with the music and the rhythm and the vibe,
Yeah.
so that ill vibe, like Dave, and so music is it drives our feelings. And so it is important that when we're listening to music, that we are being intentional about what we're listening to. And I think sometimes we forget, like, this is an experience, and we don't appreciate what we're listening to. And I love that about you, because you are so passionate about music. And I've learned, and I've been introduced to a lot of music that I wouldn't normally listen to through you. So how do you find, I know you said, years ago, you like just somebody randomly sitting outside handing out tracks and things, but how do you find your music?
I mean, yeah, people still give me music. I get like probably too much music, but a lot of it is just listening. Like I hear another DJ play. I listen to a lot of radio shows. Actually, a lot of radio shows I listen to are like from London and things like that. And I just pay attention. I'm just always looking for the new thing. And I'm also looking at the things that everybody else is listening to and finding what I like about it. So like, you know, there's a Megan Thee Stallion album. Yeah, everybody's gravitating to X, Y, and Z song, but there might be this other song on there that nobody's talking about that's fantastic and that everybody gets. I think even there's kind of this thing that happens with a lot of DJs where there's a song we have that, you know, we kind of know it's a good thing before the crowd knows. So we might have like the newest song. Like I know a lot of DJs always bring up Mercy by Kanye West, and like how, you know, the DJs kind of had that before, and we were trying to play that and people were like, what's this song? And then all of a sudden it gets on the radio and then everybody's like going crazy for it. And it's just one of those ones. And not to bring up Kanye West too much, but he's just a good example for this. But you know, it's
cool. Yeah, you're right, because there's so many. You're standing up to bat for the unsung heroes. You know, the unsung songs that people overlook, and the unsung artists that, you know, just they don't fit the mold of pop culture, but their music is still amazing, probably better than a lot of the stuff out here, you know.
And also like the artists that we do know and we do love, like I'm constantly playing Stevie Wonder, I'm constantly playing Earth, Wind and Fire, and I actually probably play more older music than anything because it's so enjoyable and there's just so much to learn. Like there's still new songs by Isley Brothers and by Marvin Gaye that I never even heard. And when I hear them, I'm like, oh, I got to share this with everybody else. And they're hearing it for the first time and they're falling in love with it. There's just so much music out there. I mean, you think about it, music has only been, like popular music has only barely been a thing for like the past 70 years, maybe. Like whenever the first records and all of that stuff started to come out, like that's it. And as a DJ, I try to go through that whole history and bring that to the table when I play for people or when I, you know, present people with music, because all of that's important. You know, people talk about like, oh, that artist is old, they're not relevant anymore and stuff. And like, that's complete stupid. That's something kids say because they don't know any better. But like, once you really open up, like all of that matters, all of it, like Billie Holiday to, you know, Future or whatever, all of that is important. And, you know, you got to find what works for you out of that. Like not every song is for you and not every song is right for you, but there's something there. Like there might be that hidden album cut or that unreleased song that's just like the perfect one. And somebody needs to expose you to that if you can't find it yourself. And the crazy thing is these days, like with Spotify and Tidal and all that stuff, people can listen to whatever music, they have access to that the whole music history of the world right there. So they can develop their own taste. And I think that's what you're starting to see happen is like, you know, before it was like young people would kind of just, there was kind of like a, you know, a movement happening and people would gravitate to the movement or they would just gravitate to whatever's popular on the radio. And that's all you had. But now you have this thing where people can find whatever music and get exposed to stuff that they would have never been exposed to and develop their own taste. So now when you go out to a nightclub or something, well, not now, but eventually when you go out to a nightclub, people will, you know, they're a little more open, I think. I mean, in some cases they're more open, in some cases they're not, but there is a crowd out there that's got a larger palette, you know? And I think everybody has their own individual palette. It isn't like one group of people is just all gravitating to this one thing, you know? There's this openness now that wasn't there before.
And we're going to leave it to the DJ to teach us, to school us on that history of music and to really integrate all of that collective music energy into the experience of whatever, you know, event you're at. I know now it's a little weird, but you know, whatever event you're at, or just even listening to your shows and following you on social media. So with that, how can my audience find you so that we can learn and be schooled on some of the amazing music that's out there?
All right. Eavesdrop Radio, you can listen to that every Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at WKDU 91.7 FM if you're in Philly, or worldwide at wkdu.org. And it's, you can just tune in live. Also, we have a podcast, Eavesdrop Radio. .podomatic.com is one of the places you can find it, or you can just subscribe to it on whatever service. I have another podcast, Excellent Reception, is deep diving into musical history and things like that. You can find that wherever you listen to podcasts. Ill Vibe Collective, there's an Ill Vibe, I think there's illvibe.com, but there's also, we're doing a lot of stuff on Twitch right now. That's pretty much where you can find us most weeknights at 8 p.m. It's twitch.com/illvibe collective. And if you need to find me on social media, it's pretty much Lil Dave 215 on every platform. So just seek me out. There's always something good there.
Yes. You just keep moving. You are very inspirational in the fact that you are so driven, and we can find you on so many platforms because you are always working, you are always creating, you are always in the lab, ready to make something that is going to move us literally and figuratively. So before we go today, I would really love it if you would share one bit of advice for maybe someone out there watching that is interested in getting into the music industry, production and DJing.
I mean, develop your own style, technique, find what you like and what speaks to you, and really build off of that. Don't fall into whatever else is going on, because as long as you're creating what you do, people will follow you. People will come to you, and you'll have your own space that you occupy. And if people want a piece of that, they'll come for that.
Definitely. There is only one you out here in the world, and that is what makes you special. And definitely the quality versus quantity. There are a million and one of the popular styles out there. Everybody wants to be popular, but when you hone into who you are and really develop that thing that you do that's special, that's where that quality comes in. That's where you become valuable, because people, if I can get a ton of disposable DJs and, all right, you can't make it next. All right. But if I get that one DJ Lil Dave that has honed in and spent years developing and really educating himself on music, as well as educating me, that's where I want to spend my money. That's where I want to put my time and effort. If I want some music made, or if I want a new show, matter of fact, DJ Lil Dave, that song that you hear playing, that is an amazing hit that that you have created, and it's amazing, and it really stirs up the vibe of the show, and it's really good positive energy. But that is the quality that people, I think, are really hungry for and are looking for out there. And especially at a time like this, where we're at home, or we've been at home and we've had a lot of time to look within ourselves. I think the arts has been kind of like a crutch that we have used to lean on to help us feel better. And like I said earlier, music and art is or any experience really, it's not really about what it is that you're doing, is how it's making you feel. So when you have a good song, now we all know, we've listened to that one song, you keep playing it over and over again because it's digging up those feelings inside. And that's why music is so important. That is why art is so important. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. Dave is not only my brother, but he is an amazing friend to me. And I've learned so much. I've always been inspired by you, Dave. I've always enjoyed watching your journey and watching you grow. And I will always support you in everything that you do. And thank you so much. And I'm so humbled for being on my show today. So thank you so much. And
I'm glad to be a part of it, as always. Keep doing cool stuff. You're just as cool. I'm trying to be like you.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I'm always